It is absolutely reckless. It is absolutely dangerous. But as I said, the full assessment is ongoing. And to Putin, I mean, my message is clear. Stop the war in Ukraine.
Several European leaders have expressed outrage at the incursion of Russian drones into Polish airspace overnight. Polish F-16s and Dutch F-35s and a refueler from the NATO aircraft fleet responded to the threat. German Patriot air defense systems in Poland were also put on alert.
This is not an accident. If 7 drones were in the Polish airspace, it was probably a deliberate provocation of Russia against a NATO member state. And I think we have to react by imposing the fiercest possible sanctions on Russia.
This incident marked the first time in history that NATO planes have engaged potential threats in Allied airspace. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk says, quote, "There's no reason to claim that we are in a state of war, but the situation is significantly more dangerous than all previous ones." Tusk told the Polish parliament that there were 19 airspace violations. Russia's Ministry of Defense said there was, quote, "no intentions to engage any targets in Polish territory." The Russian military says it was carrying out attacks directed at Ukraine. President Donald Trump was previously frustrated by Russian attacks on Ukraine, holding up peace negotiations.
Okay, shalom, shalom, kwam yasha'Allah, koholoyim la Yahweh bashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Rachahakodash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth, and just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akhwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Achanan Nawaf, just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. A lot going on in the backdrop where they showing Captain Kirk out here, you know, and these visuals and shit that they're having for this guy. You know who I'm talking about. We calling him Charlie. Well, Captain Kirk right now. He got beamed up, but it's a lot of shit going on in the backdrop, man. This is what people should be focused on right here. This type of stuff. Because this is where your money is going to, your tax money is going to. They don't give a fuck about your groceries. They don't care about how much this gas is going up. They don't care about people don't have no health insurance no more. They don't give a shit about your car insurance going up. They don't give everything going up, your rent. People out here struggling. And you got Trump and his administration talking about throwing the homeless into mental institutions and basically, you know, medicining their asses up, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's not looking good for America, man. And the divide here is just out of control. But let me get this real quick. Matter of fact, I was just into an article. I want to get some of this too. But let me get this real quick. And yeah, New Testament, Matthew chapter 24. Now this is one of the things that Yahushua spoke of that the world ignorantly calls Jesus. When the disciples, they wanted to know what would be happening before his coming. And Matthew 24:3, let's start there. The point is in verse 6. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And that word world is going off into the end of an age, an end of a kingdom. And that end of the kingdom that it's talking about is the end of Esau, Edom's kingdom, which is the progenitor of the so-called white race. And I was just looking at Fox News. I couldn't even stand looking at it. You know, White House holding a candlelight visual for this guy, Beamer Muscati, man. You know, Captain Kirk. You know, 20 so-called white men standing there, you know, just looking doofy as hell with them stupid ass suit and ties on, you know, trying to make it seem as if this guy is just truly a martyr. And they don't care nothing about that guy. But what they're going to do is, you know, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. They're going to use his death, which probably was them anyway. That's me speaking as a man. You know, they're going to use that shit and they're going to ride with it, man. They're going to ride that. They're going to surfboard that shit all the way out, man. They're going to ride that wave. You know, so you might as well just look to a lot more bullshit coming from that. And it's that separation of the nation, man. That Matthew 12:25. A nation, you know, divided cannot stand. But this is what the Lord said right here. In verse 6, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6, when the disciples asked him what would be happening in the end before his coming, he said, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And this is what you're witnessing. You're matter of fact, you're about to see some serious famine going on right here in these Americas, not just in Gaza, because the scripture talks about that a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And see, Esau, these Americans, they have a big part in that famine that's going on over there in Gaza, because they're supplying Israel with the money and weapons to actually pull that shit off. So guess what? That's gonna come to these Americas. That's gonna, it's gonna come to these Americas. The elite of them, the ones that got a little bit of money that don't give a fuck about the rest of these Edomites, these MAGAs, these ones that's running around out here. You know what I'm saying? They kind of okay, still doing okay. The ones with the big ass trailer where they can travel to the south. They headed up to the boathouse. They got the jet skis and shit like that. Like those megas that make maybe $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, little shit like that. It's gonna come to a point where those people are gonna be hungry. They're gonna be picking out which child they gonna eat for the day, right? So the famine is coming here, because they're gonna reap what they've sown. Matter of fact, let me just see here, because I seen that article. I'm trying to think that I go into it. Slot. Yep, right here. And now I know here in Michigan, where I seen an article the other day, they have a fund, and I think it's throughout all the states of America. They have funds for American farmers. But they just see what Trump done was he clipped the program for the suicide. They have a suicide program for farmers that they always had money put into to prevent farmers from committing suicide. So now Trump, he has cut that money, and that money is not there no more. I just seen an article on that, I think the day before yesterday, and I had no idea, but of course it makes sense. But there was funds or programs for everything that could cover America falling and going wrong. So what Trump and Doge done, as far as Elon Musk, when they first came in, they pretty much was like, okay, this is waste, this is waste, this is waste. Now they're telling you that all this money is being saved from waste, but the American people are not benefiting from the money that they found. The American people, their groceries is going up. Still, the groceries is way higher right now than they was before Trump came in. Way higher. Gasoline, way higher. It definitely hasn't dropped. Clothing, school supplies, people have furniture, cars done went up, man, probably like shit. You might as well just go and get you a new car, man, if you're going to get a used one, because them used one is just as much. Because people thinking that, all right, well, fuck it, I can't afford no new car, let me go to a used car lot. You go to a used car lot, the used cars there, and that motherfucker got already 30, 40, 50, 60,000 miles on it. It's the same price as a brand new car with 5 miles on it. You might as well just go ahead and just go all out and get you a new car, man. That's going on. It's a lot going on, man, in this place, man. And Esau, he's wrecking the place, and he's not. He's really keeping these distractions going where you doofies just don't know. Okay, so this is in Raw Story. We're out of time. Farms warn Trump is about to usher in the worst crisis in decades. Now let me get this one right here. I was in here earlier. One of the elders was going off into a story like this as well. I think he was going into the farms in Arkansas. But it's all over the place, man. All these farmers throughout the U.S., they really doing bad. It's not going good for them right now. 2nd Ezra 15 and 13, it says, they that till the ground shall mourn. Who are the ones that till the ground? It's these farmers. For their seed shall fail. And how is it failing? It's through, overall, you don't have the workers to actually, to tend to it. But it says through the blasting and hail and with fearful consolation, right? So it's weather that's fucking the shit up. It's the Lord overall it's the Lord anyway. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. But mainly with these there's a couple more scriptures on that. I want to say, let me see if I can find it. Isaiah 19, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let me start at Isaiah 19:7 in the NLT. It says, all the greenery along the riverbank and all the crops along the river will dry up and blow away. Right? The fishermen will lament for lack of work. Those who cast hooks into the Nile will groan, and those who use nets will lose heart. There will be no flax for the harvesters, no threads for the weavers. They will be in despair, and all the workers will be sick at heart. What fools are the officials of Zoan? Their best counsel to the king of Egypt is stupid and wrong. Will they still boast to Pharaoh of their wisdom? Will they dare brag about all their wise ancestors? Where are your wise counselors, Pharaoh? Let them tell you what God plans, what the Lord of heaven of harvest is going to do to Egypt. The officials of Zoan are fools, and the officials of Memphis are deluded. That's funny that NLT says Memphis when they send in those National Guard to Memphis. The leaders of the people have led Egypt astray. And America's modern day Egypt, man. This is spiritually Egypt. The Lord has sent a spirit of foolishness on them. So all their suggestions are wrong. They cause Egypt to stagger like a drunk in his vomit. There is nothing Egypt can do. All are helpless. The head and the tail. The noble palm branch and the lowly reed. So this place is done, man. In that day, the Egyptians will be as weak as women. They will cower in fear beneath the upraised fist of the Lord of heaven's armies, man. But overall, the work of this place, man. The Lord is knocking off the work of this place. Now let's see. Let's go into a little bit of this. Yeah, that farming shit, because it was foolish of Donald Trump. But he ran on that, that promise of getting rid of immigrants. But what these people, and these people so racist, they like, oh yeah. But okay, your farm workers are immigrants. Yeah, how do you don't think that's gonna affect you? Now here you go, you don't have nobody to come and pick all that shit. And those places is doomed, man. Okay, so it says, President Donald Trump's trade policies have set up American farmers for an impending disaster, as China refuses to buy soybeans from the United States. That was the #1 buyer. And not just soybeans, man. They bought all kinds of shit. According to the New York Times, the move by the Chinese government to halt U.S. soybean imports has had devastating repercussions for farmers in North Dakota, which exported more than 70% of its soybeans to China before Trump unveiled the new tariffs this year. Unless China agrees to restart its purchases as part of the trade deal, farmers that depend on the Chinese market will be facing steep losses that could fuel farm bankruptcies and farm foreclosures around the United States. And there you have it. And you know who buying up these farms? J.D. Vance and them. From what I'm hearing, a lot of these elite, they just people in general. They buying up, your damn Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. They buying these farms for pennies on the dollar. They like, oh well, we know your farm is worth, $30 million, but we'll give you $1 million. Take it or leave it. It says China usually consumes around half of the U.S. annual soybean harvest and 70% of the harvest from North Dakota. The uncertainty has caused many farmers to fear a repeat of the 1980s farm crisis, a massive agricultural recession triggered by high interest rates, falling crop prices, and land value changes. The recession led to a huge wave of farm bankruptcies across the Midwest. And that's where they was talking about that suicide plan. That's when they pretty much came up with they had a suicide fund, to fund some of these farmers, give them counseling and, do all these different things to keep them from going out, and putting the rifle to in their damn throat. Pulling that Captain Kirk. Okay, it says the stress level is much higher now than it was then. 44-year-old Jordan Gackle, who owns 76-year-old soybean farm near Combe, which there's definitely all this shit is Native American Indian country. All this shit is stolen anyway. It says if we keep this going for very long, then we are going to see a kind of foreclosure that we're happening. He continued, all of this unnecessary. The U.S. was not forced into this by anybody. His brother Josh, who chairs the American Soybean Association, said the input costs for fertilizer, chemicals, cost of land, cost of equipment, all of those things are increasing and the price of the commodity is decreasing. Justin Sherlock, 37-year-old farmer in Daisy, had a more blunt assessment. I feel like we're out of time. Yeah. Adding to the stakes, Trump's own Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has financial interest in the region as he tries to negotiate a trade solution with China. So here you go, you got one of Trump's men that actually work under him that's being fucked over. The Treasury Secretary owns thousands of acres of North Dakota farmland worth up to $25 million. Yep, there you go. Let me see what this guy look like. Here you go, right here. I think I've seen it before. Scott Bessent. So here you go, you working for the president that's fucking you over. Interesting. Yep, here you go. Yeah, he's that doofy. He kind of looked like that damn TV. Damn, I can't think of that TV show. He looked just like this guy that play on the TV show. Can't think what his name is. Anyway, but yeah, he losing out. But then he'll probably more likely bail himself out if anything. He'll get bailed out. He ain't gonna lose nothing. It says the properties grow soybeans and corn in a state that exports most of its agricultural products to China. The investment have earned Mr. Bessent as much as $1 million in rental income annually, according to his financial disclosure filings. Yep, so that's pretty much about it, man. So this place is doomed, man. It's really doomed. Not a good look right now. I gotta say that. These comments, people. And this is where that division, separation of the country comes, because you got that other side of the country that didn't vote for Trump. That's like, yeah, bitch, you need to lose it all. So they cheering for the asses to lose. So we warned you for 6 months in 2015, and you voted Trump anyway. And now the chickens are home to roost. Yep. Yeah, I think he's going to bail them out. It says Trump will bail them out of the problem he caused. They know he started a trade war, but they also knew he'd bail them out. So, yeah, I think, they're going to bail their asses out of there. And in the meanwhile, the rest of y'all niggas losing. Yeah, it said Trump wants to bankrupt you so your farms can be bought up by private equity companies. Could be true. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely there to overall fuck shit up. Yep, you got what you voted for type of dillies. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some things going on right now that's really fucking America over, bro. Like, seriously. A lot of shit going on right now where people just have no idea what's really to come, really, for real. And also, there was this other story, too. Yeah, back to this rumors of wars. It says Russia warns Europe, we will go after any state which takes our assets. So now, if you're familiar with what was going on with this, I think they had about 400 or so. Let me see how many billion. But anyway, America was blocking all their money. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much, 300 to 350 billion in sovereign Russian assets, mostly European, U.S. and British governments bonds held in European security depositories. So they basically taking these people money from, these Russians' money and allocating it, or, giving it over to Ukraine to fund their bullshit. And basically just taking the money. But overall, this is what Russia, they said Russia will pursue the EU states as well as European degenerates from Brussels and individual EU countries who try to seize our property until the end of the century. So these people pissed, man. This has been ongoing for a few years now, though. So, and it's not a good look on the American side neither, because when you see America is being more and more non-trusted. Nobody trusts America, because say for instance you're a country, let's just say you're Germany, you know, whatever, and you got assets, you know, in all these different countries, you're doing business, then all of a sudden America don't like you and they take your money and they just freeze it. Don't have nothing to do with, you know, really you in reality, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's how sanctions work. You know, when they sanction people that actually a lot of the times don't be having anything to do with the wars that be going on. They'll, just because you're a millionaire or billionaire, or, you know, you have a company that's pretty lucrative in whatever country you're in, they'll say, well, you know what, we're gonna lock down that particular sector, cell phone sector. We're gonna knock down the food giant, or he owns a bunch of supermarkets. We're gonna shut his shit out. The medical aspect of it, we're gonna shut them out. You know, and they hit everybody that they know have actual money, so those people can actually, you know, kind of come at the government and pressure them to say, hey, look, give in to them, man, because we're suffering. And that's how America does. But in the meanwhile, they'll just snatch up your assets, man. They'll, you know, wherever you invested at and wherever you have things going. And see, a lot of countries, they see that and they're like, oh, well, if they'll do that to Russia, they'll do that to us. And that's why you have a lot of forming of the BRICS nations as well, you know. So, you know, hey, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. But overall, what's happening is this is the end of this man's kingdom. It's about to fall. Let me get the 2nd Ezra 6 and 9 real quick. And it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. But in the meanwhile, they trying to put you Negroes' face out there on the billboards as if you're the mascot of this place falling. And really, in reality, you know, you play a part in it because it's prophecy, because of what the Lord is going to do for the elect of Israel. And, you know, he's going to punish these nations for what they've done to us. So, you know, we do play a part in it. But, you know, physically, like, we don't have no military might. We're not running throughout the world bombing people. We don't have no economic might. We're not saying to Russia, hey, we're gonna sanction you. No, we're just in the hood paying our taxes. You know, we're just in the hood with the worst of services. We don't have no might over no farms like this guy got. We don't have no might over no cows, no sheep, no goat, no milk, no juice, no water. We're paying for those services. We don't and pay very high for it too. We pay top dollar for the nastiest of services, man. We're not. So these are these Edomites that's falling, but they try and make it seem as if we're the problem. And that acute, and you got doofies, man. They just really don't look past the fact that, okay, well, you do know that the elite of the white people, and I can't even say even the elite of the white people. You got so-called white people that, you know, may only make a couple of $100,000 that's sucking your ass up. When we talking about the trillionaires, they really sucking your ass up, but you're not coming up against them. They place it on the media. See, they own all the media, so they're able to push into the media to accuse the brethren, to accuse you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans of being the worst criminals on the planet. But in the meanwhile, he's in control of the food, water, and air that's poisoning and killing millions. He can do a drive-by just with his chemtrails over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? He can do a drive-by just with you going to the store and eating some ultra-processed food, man. Here you go. This man promotes a pizza every damn Sunday during the NFL with all the most abominable shit on there that they know will kill your ass. And they allow those commercials to run and have your ass a Grubhub or DoorDash some poison right to your house, along with a big-ass soft drink. But you think Trump is going to sign some executive orders against stuff like that? RFK Jr. talking about make America healthy again. You think they can get the fuck out of here? No, these people are killing people on the low in the millions daily. But they'll make it seem like, okay, well, yep, 3 niggas got shot in Chicago this weekend. 20 niggas got shot, you know what I'm saying, over the past month within these 3 to 4 states, or 60 people, 100. They'll make it seem like you're the worst thing going. But even the crime that's in our neighborhoods, majority of it comes from Esau, man. From the shit that he has put together. That's why the scripture says to never trust thine enemy. Here you go. This man create the guns, he create the bullets, and then, you know, he gives Jake a slap on the wrist a lot of the times when they doing this dumb shit, instead of just going ahead and stringing their asses up, fire squadding their asses or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because if you kill a man, and it wasn't some self-protection type of shit, man, you know, your ass, and it was something that you plotted. No, nigga, you supposed to be put to death. Put that nigga down, man. Make an example of his fucking ass, man. And matter of fact, you should let the Israelites actually do it in their own communities and shit. Right? But here you go. You got Jake that'll you know, this nigga the worst. Now, he has been the worst in the neighborhood, terrorizing everybody. But you'll have niggas, you know what I'm saying, with t-shirts on, RIP this. Niggas is you know, got bottles all around. You know, they're doing all kinds of damn TikToks and shit. They all, you know, letting balloons and shit go for the most wickedest nigga in the neighborhood. Nah, kill that nigga. Let that nigga get the business. Purge off that evil. Now, this is what, you know, the thinking that us Israelites have, even though we can't do it, don't get me wrong. Don't quote me on that, you know what I'm saying? Don't think that we're just out here just doing whatever. You know, so, but what I'm saying is when the Lord judges these niggas, we ain't got no problems with that. Because we understand judgment. It's you wicked niggas that don't. You think that these niggas is just, oh, he was my baby. He gave the clothes off his back. And meanwhile, this nigga, you know how many niggas overdose off the shit he was out here doing? Serving? How many niggas this nigga done, you know, done gunned down or whatever the case may be? Nigga got baby mamas all through the hood and shit, ain't taking care of none of them. You know, just a goddamn, he's a menace in the neighborhood. And then you know. So we come up against stuff like that. But they don't give us credit for any of that stuff like that. You know, and matter of fact, Esau, the last thing that he would want, you think Trump, J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, you know, Christine Nomes, Pam Bundy, you think any of those people will want you niggas to come back into this true fold as being an Israelite, where we don't smoke, we don't drink. I mean, you know, no, we drink, you know, moderately, occasionally, but we don't smoke weed no more. We don't smoke cigarettes no more. We don't sell crack no more. We don't sell pills no more. We're not into any of that type of negative shit. We don't eat pork no more, so we're trying to keep up with our health. We're actually hitting the gym, so we're actually trying to keep up with our health. We're coming up and trying to do family value shit in our households. These are things that can straighten up your community and you know, within a day, really, a week, especially within a year, where you got a whole community of so-called black people not terrorizing each other. We're not committing adultery. Hell, the adultery rate the murder rate really from adultery is through the roof. From a nigga, you know, dealing with some other nigga's woman, or some woman out here, you know, playing a harlot. They don't want our people to stop shit like that. They get money. They make money off of that. If we were to just get rid of the rap music, nothing wrong with listening to it, but you know, overall, I don't. You know, I prefer not to listen to any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with listening to it if you know, you in the spirit and you can handle. But a lot of these niggas, they not. They just carnal as hell. So that music is no good to them. So they go out here and they try and live the life of. So it's really very simple. If we just keep the 10 commandments, that'll help us to roll off into the rest of them, you know, to the best of our ability. But just those 10. Not worshiping any other gods. Because if you're not worshiping any other gods and you worshiping Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua only, you're going to have some respect and reverence for him. That's going to make you think like, nope, I don't want to do that. I ain't doing that. Hell, and then knowing the judgment. See, they don't want us teaching the judgments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, man. But this man, he'll tell you about his laws. He'll tell you about, you know, here you go, you got Trump out here talking about crime. Like, nigga, you got on your books where 2 men can get married. What the fuck are you talking about, nigga? What laws are your laws are stupid as hell. You're not signing executive orders to say that no, 2 men can't be together. You're not running these LGBTQ people. You're not loading their asses up on those planes and sending their asses to a personal island where they can do that shit to themselves. You're not doing any of that. So it's all a front, man. And the Lord hates a hypocrite, bro. All that hypocritical shit that these Edomites are doing, the Lord, he's actually showing who they are. You're very hypocritical. On every level, too. That's the crazy part. But they just don't have to have that power and that might. And the Lord is setting them up where they're causing this separation throughout the country. Where this shit can go ahead and cave, man. But anyway, that's pretty much about where it's at. 2nd Ezra 6:9 again, and out for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And it's beautiful, baby. So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying. Kwam Yasha Allah in a bubble ball.